Oh, it's man tomorrow here. Let's give people a couple minutes to come in here, see what's going on. Give people a couple minutes to come in. Make sure you hit the like button upon coming in here. All right, let's get this thing started. All right, so the productivity piece. All right, the reason why I'm doing this simply because there are works of art that I actually critique, and so the question always comes up: well, where is your book? Where is your stuff? Now, no one ever played back any of my live streams to tell me where I'm wrong at. Why? Because I do my research and I don't mischaracterize people. I play their actual comments and I respond to them, which is far better idea just nakedly doing ad hominem attacks on people. I understand that a lot of people want to turn the Manosphere into a hangout place. I understand that. That makes a lot of sense. Because anything that is meant to exclude, anything that is meant to exclude a certain type of person within within the male space, like the lower classes of people, the lower functioning people who only want to talk about women, for instance. Any movement that they can move into and subsequently destroy is something that they're going to do. They've done it with the black church. They've done it with the military. They've done it with the businesses back in the day. They supplanted those businesses with people wanting to be entertainers, if not a comedian or some type of music artist or some type of movie star, whatever. Everything was always based on leveraging the collective ignorance of the people for a cheap laugh. And actually putting the money that they make on the level and on par with people who actually got up and did work for a living. But the actual true productivity piece have always left all this stuff all the way behind. All the way behind. Like there is no loop around once you get your stuff kind of together that you want to go hang out with people in the neighborhood. So now you're the most functional person around dysfunctional people. But that's what this thing has become. It doesn't matter if you look at Art Newstar channel or BGS's channel or now the Roger Report or Edward Anderson or AV Media. Like you see the same group of non-productive men who go from one place to another to another to another to complain about the same issue and the same topic that they just heard 5 minutes ago on somebody else's panel. And a lot of these people are in education. A lot of these people work at universities. A lot of these people just don't want to let go of the hood persona. I never knew that men actually looked up to the hood persona this much. I never knew that. I thought that this was merely something that people who wasted the grand majority of their time in these neighborhoods were on. And actually being on some entertainment stuff was a way to muscle their way into relevance in modern society. I did not know that there were far more men who looked up to this image than can ever could be. And it makes a lot of sense when you actually think about it, because they think the actual unintelligent person is the apex predator within the actual environment. They want to live up to the level of not having any responsibility toward anyone within the environment. They just want to be able to come through, feed as much as they can off the people that's there, and then leave. That's what these people were honestly on. So what you have to understand is, like, once you start mastering these actual things, you can start leaving these unproductive people alone. Because the problem is, you feel too much brotherhood with people who ain't going anywhere. And yes, it does start your growth, because when it comes time to being around people or power, and you have to search yourself, you have to actually research and explain things. You can't assert yourself in an environment if the only thing you can do is present a narrative, and that's not even well researched. Actually, productive people don't have a problem, even if I don't like the factual information that is actually within something. I can actually look at the factual information for what it is and be able to competently present it to other people. But these individuals, they can't do that. And not only can they not do that, they want to destroy every single movement or every single group that is unpoliced. This is non-productive people walk in and they destroy everything. Why? They're always looking for non-police groups to walk in and destroy. That's their job. Their job is to make sure the conversation stays tightly glued to actually women that you can stay away from. But this has nothing to do with the actual moving things forward in society, because they're not for that. But when you're a truly productive person, you've already made the decision that says, you know what, there can be a community without nonsense. There can literally be a community without nonsense. There can literally be a community without disorder. There can literally be a community that actually operates and work around people. But here's the other thing. A lot of people don't even know how to work around men. They don't know how to be disciplined with their actions. They don't even bring things to the table. They just want to take things away from the table, away from everywhere where they go to. A lot of these people, they can't uphold simplistic standard and principle, because their idea of a functional society has to include all these things that don't make any sense. All these things that is, by simplistic nature, making sure things don't work. You can't coordinate with people. You literally cannot coordinate with people who you don't understand their end goal. How can you coordinate with people if you don't understand their end goal? How do you negotiate? How do you negotiate and coordinate with people and take action among people if they don't simply do their research? How do you do all that if all these people want to do is sit around and talk about women all day? So you have to understand that they're going to destroy every movement. That's obvious, because they're waiting on other people to solve all of these problems for them. And then the moment that the problem is solved, they want to take credit as if they were the one doing all the work, when that's clearly not the case. This is why when you're fully productive, like you made it on your own steam, you went into a career field that is not entertainment or food based. You actually have skills to leverage in negotiation. You don't put these people on. You don't put them on at all. Because the whole point of you doing this was not for a group benefit. The reason why you did this is for self benefit. There is no community when it comes to individual action for individual benefit. I know a lot of these people have been around a lot of these places. And what you have to realize is none of this stuff is supposed to work overall. But you have to understand that this has been their whole life story. Their whole life story has been walking to a place that was meant to exclude them and sabotage the actual mission so that way nothing functions. Now, you can't do this stuff in the military. You're definitely not going to be doing it on anybody's police force. But these people are far used to sabotaging things that are meant to work. And pretty soon, people are going to stop their actual platforms from being leveraged for these actual problems. These people are going to stop you from coming online and leveraging the collective ignorance of people pretending to be some character online. Like, people are going to stop having their platforms being used like that. They're going to force you to go out and create a website for it. Because collectively, these personnel have already divested from the masculinity piece. That is why everybody else have to pick up the slack to exercise masculinity for them, because they're not going to do it at all. They're just going to sit back, hang out, and take credit for everybody else's work. Because that's their idea. That's their idea of working. It's hanging out until the work's done. I mean, these people are just merely being seduced by what they think power is. They don't know anything about different types of dominance, different types of compromise, different power dynamics, different types of leverage. Like, these people don't know anything about any of those things. But whenever the news cycle has some woman messing up, man, these people are there all day. Because their idea is to supplant working things with things that don't work at all. That's their job. I mean, they literally. Nah, it's probably you. My mic could be popping. I don't think so, Mike. Nah, that's not me on my end. I don't think so. Mic is popping. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Let me go out here and come back in. Oh, it's still connected to my phone for some reason. Somebody testing my mic. Anyone in the chat, if you can be able to hear me clearly. Anyone in the chat, if you can be able to hear me clearly now. All right, for some reason it connected to my phone. I thought I turned my Wi-Fi off on my phone. Still cracking? What the fuck? Hold on a second. All right, there we go. I hope. I'm not sure what the hell's going on with that. Hold on. Yeah, but let's go with it. I mean, but you have to realize that over time, these people just don't want to build up the type of power to even be independent like that. And there's a lot of things that people just leave out of things. Like their job is just merely to hang out. But you don't have to bring this pain with you. Like that's the problem. People want to bring this pain with them from other situations. This is why when you interview for other places, they ask you about previous employment to see if you're bringing any pain with you from the previous place that you was in. But a lot of these people wanted to bring their actual failure with them. They didn't even want to be part of a better group of people. They didn't even want to take better actions with the information. They never wanted to do any of that. The only thing that they wanted to be is they wanted to be heard and they wanted to be accepted. They did not want to take action to fix any problem because that stuff is up to other people. And they're just waiting for the things to be actually fixed. But that's the problem that you have here. And all the things that you see here are all the things that you're going to actually witness throughout your entire life. You're going to meet people who've been in the same position for 8 years that I'm going to talk about later on. You're going to meet people who is staunch on keeping their mouth closed. You have people who think that being silent toward things that are happening within the environment is all of a sudden going to get better because they kept silent to it. You're going to keep having all of these same problems. And they're going to keep representing themselves in different ways until you fix it. But when you're a productive person, you're just going to be able to move easily. You could be able to see this stuff coming a mile away and move past it before it even damages you at all. But a lot of these people are envious of individuals that are not part of their group. Now, you have to understand that these people are too weak to formulate their own group. They're too weak to go formulate their own group. So they have to sabotage other groups. And if you don't have any safeguards in place, everything becomes a hangout spot. An operational society don't need all these people to hang out. The hangouts happen when no one has a point or a purpose. And truly productive individuals don't really have this type of problem. They don't have a problem with looking at an individual and be like, you know what? I'm not doing business with that individual. I'm going to find a working version of that. I'm going to find a working version of this so that way I don't have to deal with this type of person. Because these type of people that I don't want to be around. You have to wake up, eat, sleep, breathe, not being around these people. People always ask, do you have to do this? Do you have to say this? Do you have to be this way? Yes, because I want these people gone, out of here, dead, over with. Go formulate your own group. Stop trying to sabotage other people's groups. You're 40 and 50 years old, still online trying to be cool like it's high school. The only thing they're trying to do is socialize the youth into letting them know that they ain't got to take no action either. Look how cool we are. Truly productive people just won't even ever want to even be around that type of stuff, period. This is why they can't work with other groups of men because other groups of men are not going to tolerate the hangout attitude. They're not going to tolerate it. Even if you're skilled, they're not going to tolerate it for very long. Because at the end of the day, if one person sees a person getting away with something, then everyone else within the environment is going to follow the lead of the weakest link, especially when it comes to slacking off. I mean, you just truly have to understand that there is absolutely no room for these people, even here online. Like if we had the ability to want to get rid of these people whenever they show up, the way that they walk into organizations and corrupt them, we would already have a cleaned up manosphere already. We would already have that. But whenever people are talking about the quote unquote space, they're always talking about the non-productive people. Large numbers of non-productive people. They're never talking about functional people who can move without using all that nonsense. That's the problem here. Like people don't understand this that you can still function without all this stuff around. This stuff is not part of the culture. You made it a part of the culture when you decided to keep accepting it. Yes, and it is easy to not say anything. It is incredibly easy not to say anything. It's incredibly easy to let bygones be bygones. It's incredibly easy to do all those things. Then you move to another environment. Now you can't function under normal circumstances. It's because you got so used to functioning under non-functional circumstances. Everything is not about hee hee ha ha. Everything is not about complaining about women. Everything is not about that. It's called Deion Davis. And then you have the people who are the most responsible for aiding and abetting the nonsense within the space, talking about the reputation of the same space that they don't provide anything for. But this is currently where we're at because people truly haven't invested in the productivity piece. And it's too easy to say that it is it's a lack of it's a lack of maturity. No, because you have this same problem in damn near every generation that you see online. You see it for the boomers, you see it for the older generation X, you see it for the younger generation X, you see it from the older and younger millennials, and you see it from the Z's as well. Because been raised in a two-parent functional household is something that is less than ideal to be dependent upon nowadays. And even if that's not the case, leaving non-functional and non-productive people out of an actual family matrix is also damn near impossible nowadays. Because one degree of separation and you're dealing with the same information from people who failed long years ago. That's the problem. Can't leave it behind. Got to bring it with you. You don't feel at home unless you have a bunch of dumb idiots around. You don't feel at home unless you can laugh at it and yuck it up, no matter what it is. Like, dude, you got to leave this stuff behind. And it's too late to be blaming boomers because you didn't have a better start. When most of these people here, regardless of what the generation is, be on the same BS or worse online than boomers are throughout their whole life. This is why you don't see me complaining about boomers because I wasn't raised by boomers like that. I was raised to disrespect the shit out of these people who don't bring any type of value. I was never taught, ever taught, to look at these individuals with anything else except for the side eye and absolute disgrace and disdain. That's what I was taught to look at them with. And apparently that's too much to ask for. But all of these dynamics are things that you should have learned before you even turn 18. So what do you do when you have so many people? What it is, when you have so many people raised under non-functional circumstances, but they want a functional result without working for it. Because most of their life experience is not taking a side, not learning what the actual situation is, not learning how things actually work, being overstepped by other groups of quietly productive and functional people. And then when it comes to other groups of people getting things or the perception of getting things, you're only worried about it when it's other people who are getting it. You don't participate in society to the point to where they would never get it in the first place. At this point, we should have created so many unions to the point to where immigration wouldn't even be an issue. Because truly productive people are not worried about immigration unless it's HB1 visas replacing people who skilled up within this environment. Because when people complain about immigration, they don't say what jobs that these people are going to get that they somehow want. That's never part of the discussion. Obviously, like being a obviously, it's like obviously my father wasn't these type of people. Obviously, my mother wasn't these type of people either. Obviously, a lot the majority of people that was around in the area were those people. Hell yeah, they were those people. They're like damn near all of my uncles are these people that they complain about, boomer wise. But I wouldn't want those non-functional individuals to be giving me some shit in the first place. But here's the thing: you got a lot of Generation X, my generation, that actually pissed off and pissed away a lot of opportunities. This being one of them, the Manosphere. These people jump right in and sabotage the red pill, made a place for simps can get their stuff off. What's going on, Airbird? That's why I don't get it. So okay, so you complain about boomers, but you're not up to some productive stuff online in your own wake. But you have all this time to be complaining about boomers. That shit doesn't make any sense. And most of these people online, it's obvious you can stay away from them. I mean, the only thing the boomers did do is that they was handed down unearned wealth. That was that's a taxation issue. So you got all these people who earned who received all this wealth, and then they turned around and they destroyed the productive system. They create the wealth for them in the actual silent generation. Now, if you want to have a legitimate conversation about boomers, that's the legitimate conversation to have about boomers. It's boomers who had money, boomers who never worked for shit. That's a way more legitimate conversation. Way more legitimate conversation. But then again, productive people just left everything by the wayside. Then it became part of the quote unquote culture to put all your actions toward people who are non functional and neglect the actual people who are functional. They made that part of their own productivity piece. Their productivity piece is maintaining a broken society. That's their productivity piece. Their productivity piece is to ensure there are places for men to get their stuff off about women and hang out online instead of learning how things work in society. They want to create a society with no consequences. The reason why they want to create a society with no consequences, so that way they can still have their place at the top of a broken system, an inverted pyramid, where the people at the top are way better off than every subsequent step below it. And their idea is to give attention to the most useless men in society. That's their idea of doing this stuff. But they're doing it for the simple fact that there is no end goal here. The end goal is to maintain the same circumstances. It's to maintain this time loop. They're not going to create something that someone else can benefit off of. They're going to maintain the same circumstances so they individually can benefit off of. That's why these things are never meant to work. This is why they have to present narrative. This is why they never do analysis. This is why they can't play back live streams. This is why they can't do anything unless they're in a protected environment where they get their stuff off and never be challenged. It is to maintain a fake image. That's what it is. To maintain a fake, non-functional image. Yeah, you're correct. During the Gauss generation, we're talking about a couple $1,000s a semester for school. It's kind of like when the actual boomer generation went to school. They had these random degrees, but they still had to go out and do stuff after that stuff was over with. They still had to go out and actually pursue legitimate training for things. They had to go do that. I mean, things were a little bit targeted in the Generation X um, stint. Things were definitely more targeted when it came to the millennials. Dude, this stuff is so targeted now with disease. It's nearly impossible to be failing out here unless you literally want to. Then we came to the standpoint of figuring out, especially with me, with having a master's degree, that you could just go to the skills and skip out on all the credentialism from education. Like some of the best people that I know at whatever job that they're at, they don't have a degree behind their name. They don't have ED or PhD or any of that behind their name. They don't. They're just very good at what they did because they made it their passion to do so. They didn't have to pursue credentialism behind it. They just went out there, learned the skills about the things that needed to be done, and executed. But the great thing is, you got to separate from these non functional individuals and learn how to work with functional individuals. Because functional individuals are going to take care of their group. Believe it or not, functional individuals always take care of their group. If you go into functional communities that's not based on entertainment and leveraging nonsense, bringing intelligence to the table is something that is greatly rewarded. But when you're in a society that actually treats education or skilled personnel as if they're a pariah, and they treat the actual entertainers as if they're the people to look up to within society, you got to make a choice of whether or not you want to invest in that type of system or not. Because most of the productivity piece is choice, deliberate choice. But a lot of people don't like the deliberate choice. They want to leave a little bit of it undone so that way they can have the creatures of yesteryear that they know that they're supposed to be leaving behind creep in and sabotage the actual situation. They want these people to just come through and pull them right back into something that they wasn't supposed to be in the first place. And I get it. As long as you spend enough time in this actual society, it is going to be very tempting. The moment you get your stuff together, even a little bit, is to go hang around those same personnel that you know who won't get it ever. So that way you can be the most productive people around them. And now you've compounded the problem. Because now you give people hope that you can somehow get your stuff together and you can still hang around the same denizens that you weren't supposed to be around in the first place after you get your stuff together. You can go get all your stuff together. You can go buy a nice car. And you can still go hang out with the reptiles down the street. You can hang out with the reptiles, and they're like in some enclosed zoo to where you won't be hurt by them. It's like, dude, it don't work that way. It does not work that way. You got to be able to go out there and produce like everybody else. You can't be making excuses or trying to leverage everybody else's participation from whatever level that they participated in. Truly productive people could just go down, look at the situation for what it is, move to an actual productive actual area, and wage an actual battle from an area that makes sense. Not choose to live in an area and complain about things that don't make sense. All this stuff is based on choice. It's radicalized free choice. That's what the productivity piece is. Radicalized free choice that's going to help you do exactly what you need to do here. And yes, you do have to throw people away. You see, that's the thing that people don't understand. You have to throw people away. You discard trash all the time. You discard things that don't work. You discard probably your phone every 2 to 3 years. But somehow you don't want to discard people? People who do far more damage and have far better of a track record than an actual phone? You don't want to throw people away. But they're willing to come trash your environment whenever they can, but you don't want to throw people away. Kenneth Williams, thanks for the 499 super sticker. Okay, let's say that you don't want to throw people away. And everyone has a level of infinite forgiveness. Don't you realize that you kind of set the you set the table. You literally set the table for getting screwed over again, and again. You set the actual standard at somebody else's level of survival. That's where you set the actual standard at. That's what you have to do. That's what you have to do. You have to make these people feel like they're being left behind so that way they can catch up with the group. But if they can make you feel like being behind is what's better than moving forward, then you're part of their group. You have to do all the things that they say do. And you have to remain in good standing with these people by putting yourself on hold, by putting yourself on pause, by socially retarding yourself so that way you can hang out with these people. You have to socially retard yourself by not understanding or knowing what's happening in society as a token of appreciation of being with their group. Yeah, that's what you got to do. A lot of these people I was in the military with, if they ain't on some productive shit, I don't even bother talking to them. All these people I went to college with, if they ain't on some productive shit, I don't even bother talking to them. Most of my family members, I don't bother talking to them. Because the more unproductive people you add within your life, the more you're going to have to watch your back from unproductive people. So why would you invite these people in the first place if they're not on the up and up in the first place? I'm sorry, I don't want to watch my back all the time from people. I don't want to do that. But a lot of people think that investing in this type of sitcom based situation where you got to have this random phone number of 50 different people whose time you have to manage because none of these people are actually doing anything productive with their life, but they want to actually look at you and your life. Yeah, man, your job is not to be outnumbered. You got to keep the circle small in the productivity piece, man. Keeping the circle small, you can keep the circle functional. You don't have to worry about popularity when you have your shit together. You don't have to worry about that many people's opinion or points of view when you have your shit together. You don't have to worry about what the wrong type of women think when you have your shit together. When you're independently productive of people's actual opinion, when you can do that, the world is just open to you. But a lot of these people, restrictions is based on things that they've done to themselves. There was no white man there. There was no evil ass woman that was waiting around the corner. They pursued all of these things that they got themselves into. But that's what the problem is. People really don't even want a better society, but they want to complain that other people are not creating it for them. Again, your life is supposed to be an indictment on how you was raised. That's what your life is supposed to be. Yeah, man. Got to move in silence. Can't tell them shit. That's why I always drove older vehicles. You ain't about to get me on some bullshit. No, sir. But these are the individuals who want to leave this place behind. And it takes the collective stagnation of the entire group to maintain their sanity. Mansfield 1.0, these people didn't have a voice. There was one or two dudes who was on some nonsense like this, but it wasn't the entire group. They did not let the entire group get corrupted by the people that should have been left out in the first place. Then you have these individuals who come in here. They'll tell you straight up front, oh man, I'm just here for the laughs. I'm here for the entertainment. I'm like, dude, read a book. What are you doing here? Again, all this stuff is just radicalized free choice and leaving these people behind. But there hasn't been a cultural shift in leaving these people out of the conversation. And we use it under the guise of hanging out in the entertainment piece of how we keep this stuff going on far longer than it actually needs to. Dude, that's every generation. You have far smarter people, like in the boomer era, who threw their whole lives away to try to be some Goldie to Max shit. You have people in the 70s and beyond who threw their whole lives away to be some type of actor or musician. Dude, this stuff happens in every generation. There were people who was raised nowhere near the street life in Mississippi, but they were the main ones wearing flags and colors and got caught up in things that they didn't need to just because they had a car. If they wouldn't have had no car to drive their ass over to the other side of the city, they would still be out of prison right now. But being accessory to a crime in Mississippi is trying to lock up everybody who's involved. Yo, what's going on, Malad Vanguard? Yeah, those things happen. But you got to lead their ass outside too. Like a lot of the productivity piece is not being a shoulder to cry on. You don't be a shoulder to cry on for these actual individuals who can't keep their stuff together. If they can't keep their shit straight, what is the point of having them around you if they cannot truly keep their shit straight? Again, other groups of people are not going to allow you to keep bringing your foolishness with you. A lot of these people are not going to allow you to cause problems for the entire group when you're there. You got to exercise a level of discipline when you're among these groups. And yes, when you're a part of functional groups, they kick people out all the time. There's no infinite forgiveness when you go to functional groups. How come you just can't be on productive shit and just stay there? Man, look, in Montpelier in high school, that car made you the man. But hey, you got to deal with people who are just as fresh as your circumstances. You cannot allow these individuals to be a part of your group when they got to bring all this baggage around that you got to defend and fight all of this stuff just to have this person around you. But you have to understand, most people grew used to being bailed out of situations, grew used to being tolerated, grew used to this stuff, grew used to come as you are. No one's going to say nothing. Everybody's welcome here. Dude, functional societies and productive people, they don't tolerate that type of stuff, man. Because if you don't exist a level of happiness without all these things around, your ass definitely ain't going to be happy with these things around. There's no need to keep reconnecting yourself with these things from the past that haven't worked. You see that these things haven't worked. So why would you let these people talk you into accepting them when their style of difference just never worked? Yeah, you got to ask people what their end goal is, and you got to ask them about the path that they on if they're going to be around you. Because if they don't bring value, they don't exhibit value, then they're there to clearly take value away from you. But that's the thing when you're not used to explaining yourself to people. The only thing you got to do is just lay down a narrative that everybody else say. I mean, anybody can talk about the dogma of the actual space. Anybody can do that. It doesn't take a whole lot of intelligence to repeat things that are said without even having any level of understanding of it. That doesn't take a whole lot of intelligence to do. Your job at this point is maintain your boredom to people who ain't got their shit together. If you're boring to ain't shit people, then you're doing something right. If you're exciting to ain't shit people, then you're doing something clearly wrong. I cannot tell you. The more you make yourself not a target of these people who don't have their stuff together, the better off you're going to eventually become and stay. But that's your job. Your job is to destroy this culture. Your job is to destroy the subculture of failed men. That's what the productivity piece is about. It's about creating a new culture with new people, with new standards, with new values, with better outcomes. That's why I literally don't give a shit about those statistics because I already decided when I woke up this morning that I'm not going to be one. I get it. Things are going in the wrong direction. That's bad when you're dealing with a certain subgroup of people. Great. Time for me to be an extra choosy with what I'm trying to deal with. But a lot of these people turn around I mean, turned right around and wanted to be chosen by the people who they know don't know how to choose properly. Historically, don't know how to choose properly. These people came here to learn how to be ratchet bait men. These red pill reptiles came here to learn how to be ratchet bait. And what I never got about these people who spit out statistics to people, you spit out statistics to people while not being shit yourself. Productive people ain't trying to preach statistics into people. Statistics are meant for you to change your behavior. To change your behavior and obviously dodge these downfalls of things. So how do these people learn all of this information and they in worse positions than they was in the first place? With better information from worse failures. No. Um I've heard people say this. I've heard Edward Anderson say this. I've heard Fantastic say this. While they also are right, but it gives them an out to keep doing the same information over and over again. That's like saying there's always new people coming into the school. That doesn't matter. If there's new people coming into the school, then those new people coming into the school, they have to exhibit the level of behavior that it takes to move to the next level. We can't use that there's new people coming here as a reason to keep restarting the conversation. When somebody comes here not properly up to date on the information, you point them to live streams and you keep moving the conversation forward. Because if you do not keep moving the conversation forward, you're going to be on this death march at the bottom of repeating the same information over and over again to the same people, giving them an out to not actually progress. And that is an actual choice when people do that. Yes, there are new people that are coming within the space that don't know shit. They also don't know that you're going to waste 5 and 6 years of their time by keeping the conversation stagnant. That's what they don't know, or they think they don't care about. I learned not to criticize these people because I see that this shit is a scripted play behind the scenes. Most of this shit is a scripted play behind the scenes. Most of this stuff is a scripted play behind the scenes. All these people talk to each other behind the scenes. Don't let you think that these people are not cool with each other. They are cool with one another. They're in the same business. Why you may think that these people don't fuck with each other? Oh, they do. They're still in the same market. That's why I just throw them all the fuck away and don't worry about anything that they're actually doing. Because if you was on some productivity shit without that bullshit being around, you'll be okay. That's why you'll never hear me talking about the content that I did 5 or 6 years ago. Because if you actually wanted that information, you would have seen what the fuck was going on 5 or 6 years ago. And you would clearly see that I was leading you out of that bullshit. So that way you can come to this level of conversation. Yeah, but you have to realize that the red pill was just a Trojan horse for men to shift their actual complaints about their shortcomings in society and place it on women to act better. That's what the fucking red pill was actually about. That's the actual reach of the actual fucking manosphere. Is to get most people who didn't have their shit together. While the women did have their problems, but you can actually ignore those fucking women too. What happens when you know that these people have problems and you restrict yourself to dealing with the same actual people? Then it's no longer the women at that point. Because if they have more options than they can actually deal with, then the problem clearly ain't the women. It's the options that the women have. And why do women have all those options? But they are more informed, but they're not taking better action. Now they create a level of codependence of being repeatedly gaslit by these so-called red pill content creators. Like the truth wasn't supposed to be a codependent mechanism. It wasn't supposed to be. The truth, just like statistics, wasn't supposed to be a codependent mechanism. It wasn't supposed to keep you codependent and gaslit on the same thing day after day after day. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If you really win, one, what's all this? What's all this communication about women? If you passed them already, that's the point. If you won, how come you're still at the starting gate? You can't use the existence of new people who haven't heard this stuff as a reason why you're still failing. You can't do that. I actually disagree. I don't think he wants that. Any person who freely admits to wanting to run experiments on men that he know isn't going to work doesn't want them living their best life. Living their best life is without him having a platform full of non-productive men. Yes, and it shows you the social strata that no matter where you are at, this type of reptile can still appeal to you some kind of way. Because there's something wrong in somebody's head where a 65-year-old guy who want to hang around with young ass dudes who don't know shit without even trying to lead them to a better solution, that's a problem. No, but it's a feedback mechanism. It is meant for damaged women to team up with inexperienced men so they can keep creating the same type of kids over and over again that become lost, that they need a surrogate father figure in order to teach them the actual information that they need. So now they're at the point of the quote unquote teaching them the information that they need, but the information that they think that they need is pretty much clearly is going to lead them right back into the same feedback loop. Listen, BGS don't debate. BGS don't debate people. He debates or try to debate people that he think he could just talk over, sway the sides. Did you listen to the live stream where he had Big J Triple X up there? He talked over Big J Triple X the entire time that he was quote unquote supposed to be debating with him. Dude, you don't know shit about Ron Wills. You don't. You see, the problem is that you fell face first into this getting your body right to fuck old women. And now you're trying to justify the time that you wasted on the Ron Wills piece, right? The only thing you have to do is go to his channel and look through his catalog for years. You're supposed to do something with your body game. Why do you think it's called body game? If you wanted to go to an actual fitness professional on YouTube, there are thousands of them. Thousands of them. Thousands of influencers who do fitness related content that don't got the word game invested in it or even involved in it. If you literally want to get in shape, you can go anywhere else in the world but Ron Wills to do that. The problem is he melded talking about women and getting your fucking body right. And that's what your dumb ass fell for. Because see, the problem is that you're trying to justify all the time you wasted listening to Ron Wills. That's because I pay attention to what the fuck's happening. Yes, this is what he was doing. He was taking unfathered men and meshing the talking about women piece, game, and the actual workout piece together as a singular thing. All right, man. You have a really nice day. Um, Sway the tides. You you're too stupid to be over here. I suggest you go back to BGSM more and Ron Wills. I want you to go back into that feedback loop, and I want you to stay your motherfucking ass over there. Because clearly, if you don't know half of the shit that I'm fucking saying, then you're not paying attention. Yeah, take your ass back over there with these motherfuckers, and why don't you ask BGS and Ron Wills how come they don't debate anybody? Don't ask me that shit. like, dude, sometimes, man, you got to stay lost, bro. You're not qualified for this level of conversation. Like, this is a 900 level course, and you're asking 100 level course questions. That's what I'm saying. When when you try to retrofit actual information without bullshit and try to fit it into these pills, you got to get the fuck out of here. Because remember, there has to be a I got to use this shit on bitches angle to information. That's the problem. He just can't work out and get his body together. You just can't work out, get your body together, and that's the fucking end of it. There has to be a I gotta spend this shit on bitches component to it. And that's why you have this pill kind of shit inside your head. Man, say it again, dude. Say it again. Yeah, you did. You did. I mean, like, but that's what these pills do to people. It radicalizes them to the point to where they can only look at shit from the standpoint of sexual acceptance in the actual environment. Nah, man. I just told you that you gotta throw people away, man. Fuck that. You think I'm gonna waste the next 6 hours of this fucking live stream trying to unfuck this dude? Man, you gotta be out of your fucking mind. That dude can take his ass over there to the people who actually he wasted his time on to get that shit straight. And maybe he will get it straight someday. Yes, a lot of these people do believe in this stuff as a religion, man. They do. They really do. Some people are so far behind that you got to kick them out the fucking conversation to save the rest of the group. Because let's say, because this guy have never seen BGS try to debate anybody on anything. To be asking a question like that, BGS don't fucking debate people. He'll call you up, he'll talk over you, or else him and the rest of his red pill reptiles will jump you on the panel to where you can't even get a word out. And then he keeps switching up the subject on you so that way you can't even get your points out. Because you would be answering this previous question and then he moves on to another question. Hey, I mean, that's what they turn it into. They turn the black pill into what is this new bullshit that they talking now? This it's not that. It's worse than that. It's trying to clearly trying to live your life through somebody else's choosing criteria. When the only thing you're supposed to do is get your shit straight and you up your own choosing criteria rather than waiting to be chose. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. They wanted a better start that they didn't have to work for. A lot of these people have far better starts, went to far better schools, and still have worse outcomes, even with a better start. Don't believe me? Look at a lot of these military brats, especially the ones overseas. They went to DoD schools, excellent schools, but these people have some of the worst outcomes you can actually think of. Scrum done. Scrum just Bob Bowman. Yeah, I don't know who some of these people on this list, but yeah, let the women run the red pill. At least they're trying to get their homegirls off the market. These dudes ain't trying to get you to women like that. Because if you actually got the women and actually start dealing with them, you wouldn't be needing this. You wouldn't need this community. You would not need this community. The moment you start dealing with people and actually getting your stuff together, you would you won't even need this information like that. A level of awareness is going to lead you to a choice. That's what the awareness piece was about, leading you to a choice. And the choice was not for you to hang out with men online and be gaslit over women on TikTok and videos and interviewing porn stars and trying to have roundtables with women that you ain't trying to have no relationships with. Like none of that stuff, none of that stuff was supposed to be part of that, but it became part of it. Because if they kept you in that cycle of red pill rage, like you don't really make good decisions. You really don't make good decisions from a standpoint of fear and excitement. You just don't. especially the worst examples of them. And that stuff you actually have to go search out. You actually have to go find, and you actually have to respond to it. That's why it doesn't make any sense. You have to do all of that shit. Again, a lot of this stuff may seem remedial, but there's a lot of remedial ass people in this space, though. There's a lot of people who join this actual space so that way they could complain about women. Yes, they laced the red pill. That's what happened with it. They cut the red pill with cocaine or meth or some other shit, and now these dudes are hooked on what they think is the red pill. That's not red pill shit, man. It isn't. That's what I'm saying. Why are failed men who are divorced, who don't even have custody of their kids, talking about relationships? Again, that's why you have to throw all that shit offline, because if you went to an actual medical professional about an actual problem, it would be against their own ethics to lead you into a feedback loop without even getting you to a level of solution. Like when you go to be one of these medical professionals, fentanyl, man. Yeah, that's what this stuff is, man. It's like, bro, you don't need a community built around truth. You don't need that. You don't need it. Because here's the thing. Let's say if these people were raised in proper environments, or actually, let's take it a step further. Let's say that you, the person, you have custody of your son. You've raised your son to be 18 years old. Your son is now off to college. Would you literally hand your son off to most of these people in the manosphere? To do what? To do what? I'll tell you what that is, Doug. I'm gonna show you a definition. When you don't care about truth, and the only thing you want to do is be actually preached to, this is what you fall into. This is what you fall victim to. The appeal to authority. And this is abused, literally abused by people. It's literally abused. Argument from authority. And it's only powered by the individuals who don't want to read shit themselves. This is why the guy doesn't realize this. He doesn't realize that he's trying to get me to fight his battles when he should be asking these people simple questions. Because if you ask BGS a simple question of how come he don't fucking debate MOT in BGS's fucking live stream, you would be timed out and you would get kicked out of the conversation. That's exactly what it is. Yes, man. There's a whole bunch of these yes, ma'am ass conversations, man. Again, I'm going to enjoy this series because at the end of the day, these people are just here to present narratives. Why would he? If he can maintain what he has right now with a bunch of cowardice ass men, like why would he? Why would he jeopardize that? Why would he jeopardize that? Why would he jeopardize his online credibility by risking a direct conversation with I'm gonna tear his fucking head off? Because the only thing you gotta do is just ask BGS a couple simple questions. What have you accomplished in 8 years that you've been online? I'm talking about for men. Because you definitely haven't did anything political in 8 years. You definitely is some type of self-taught chemist with no fucking degree. But if your audience doesn't make you go and actually challenge actual criticism, there's no reason to do it on its own. But that's why you keep them around here. So that way you can see the type of individuals who are still attracted to that type of fucking position. Because if you're attracted to that type of position, you're not going to be over here. You're not going to be over here. And you're going to maintain your position at the bottom of everything, which I don't have a problem with. He said that. He said that. Yep. Walter Black, Breaking Black Manosphere. That guy actually said he was a self-taught chemist a bunch of fucking times. An autodidact chemist. No, Spider-Man didn't call himself a chemist. Man, bro, Iman Perry, man, he said that shit a bunch of times. He said that shit a bunch of times, man. A bunch of times. I mean, he said it with like force in his voice. But you know, when people say stupid shit, man, bro, just get them the fuck out of here. That's what I'm saying. I mean, reality get too much for him. Yeah. Black grandma speaks. Yes, he did. The grandma did say that he was a fucking chemical grandma. He was. Some people are too fucking stupid to the point where you just can't address them, man. You just gotta get them the fuck out of here. I mean, it's not really my job to answer people's stupidity all the time. I mean, some of this shit you could just wait. I mean, but he provided no proof. It was because he said so. With the argument of authority on the screen. Look, man, that's what he said. Just like he said, it was going to take 5 years for Pearly Things and Nick Fuentes to actually provide things for black boys. He said that shit out loud, out of his fucking mouth. He said that shit. He said that. He literally did. But we love these bloviating cowards in actual Black America. We love it. We love these effeminate sounding men giving relationship advice. We love that shit too, apparently. But somehow we have a problem with the LGBT community where we love the sound of effeminate sounding motherfuckers talking about mundane shit. Okay. Yeah, he's actually stink meaner, man. That's what he is, man. BGS stink meaner. Black stick meaner speaks. Say it again. Say it again. He just drafted this woman out of nowhere. Like, yeah, she's gonna deliver shit for black boys. Give her 5 years. He said that shit out his mouth. Just like he said that shit out of his mouth. But when you're a leader of a bunch of dumbass men who don't want to hold you responsible for shit, that's what it is. Dude, this dude is the worst double agent for the gynocracy. The worst double agent. He literally is sending the men on send off missions right back into the women that they ain't supposed to be with and complaining about the gynocracy. Dude, these dumb motherfuckers love walking contradictions. They love them. They love them. Minus 007. Ah, no, Agent 000. But then again, it ain't even the women who don't even want productivity to run shit. It's men who decided that. But you have to realize that it's the Maggle 16. But you have to realize why they do this, right? They do this is because they're thinking that by promoting those women, they're going to be able to increase their Mission Impossible, Maggle Impossible. But that's the problem. These dudes came online to look up to failed men. Yeah, all right, okay, I'll take it back. But that's where we at, though, man. This stuff is easy to figure out. He can't have you being better than him. And they have to leverage the actual voice of women to do shit. They can't do shit on their own. They need women to actually promote them in the bullshit that they own. And yes, a lot of these women do love weak ass men. Look, If these women have all these weak ass men around, that means that their power is never going to be challenged by anybody. That's why they give their attention to people who can't handle it on purpose. So, with that said, let me get up out of here. I got some clips to play for you. Well, when we talk about this Itmore and why he loves the Ice Cube effect. And I'm going to be honest with you about the Ice Cube effect as well. Because he's talking about it, but he's not really telling you about what it is. But I'm going to break down to you exactly what it is. Well, Laro, I mean, they're turning something that is not a biological imperative into a biological imperative. Now, let me show you how they bastardize even that concept, Laro. Okay, so let's go to Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs to show you how they bastardize this pretty easy topic. Let's see if you can see that. Boom. Okay, so what we have: psychological needs, safety needs, love and belonging, esteem, self actualization. Where is it on Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of need is love for hoes, love and belonging? It doesn't say constant pursuit of bitches. It don't say that. It don't say it. It literally doesn't say that. So they're turning something that is an elective into an actual need when it doesn't need to be. I haven't either. The spread forth and multiply shit, bad use of religious context. I doubt any deity would want your children to live in poverty just so that way you can have a whole bunch of kids. I don't think any religious deity would want that for their actual people. I just don't think that's the case. Because, see, it's their job to bastardize everything. Because they have to justify all this time that they waste on their pursuit and the losing to these actual women. You know what? Maybe I need to actually come out with a live stream called the Maggle Hierarchy of Needs. So that way you can understand these aspiring Maggles and their hierarchy of needs, man. So with that said, I gotta get up out of here. I'll be back in 2.5 hours. I'll be here at 10 o'clock Eastern time. Gotta go get something to eat, and I'll be back. So, but then again, this is the intro to the productivity piece. We're gonna be talking about different things about leverage, different things about power dynamics, different things about all those things next week. Yep, you're correct. Oh, All right. Well, thank y'all for coming through. I'm the man tomorrow. Make sure you like the video on the way out for the algorithm. You guys have a nice one. I'll see you in a couple hours.